Hey, what's up YouTube? This is FoxTail Digital coming to you again with Black Girl Stocks. Well, there's been some huge updates from Webull. So they just dropped their new Webull Desktop 8 and it's a total game changer. This upgrade is stacked with a lot of new features, but I want to talk about something that I'm really excited about, and that's the custom indicators. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you, while I'm sitting here filming this, it's already updated to version 8.16 that I have right now. I can't keep up either, but with this new update, Webull lets you fully customize indicators to fit your trading styles. So whether or not that's adjusting indicators that are already there or creating something completely unique, this is going to open up a whole new level of control over your chart. Okay, so it's perfect for getting the insights that you need without the clutter that you don't. So we're going to get into the details and talk about why this feature alone makes Webull Desktop 8 worth the download. Okay, so before we get into the new stuff, I want to talk about what hasn't changed. So when you click on the indicator section, a lot of the core features are still going to be there, but they've tweaked it just enough to feel fresh and give you a better user experience. You can still highlight your favorite indicators. That's still a thing. If you have your go-to tools, you can place a star by them, add them to your favorites so you can keep them front and center without having to, scroll through this whole list. You can actually just, click on favorites and it's going to show you that. So there's that. Here's the cool part. If you look to the right of the indicator section, then you're going to notice that they're separated into two different types. You have your main chart indicators, and these are going to be the overlays. Okay, think about things like moving averages, Bollinger Bands that actually sit right on top of the price action. Then you have your subchart, and these are the below chart heroes. So think about the RSI indicator, MACD, where the deep technical analysis magic really happens. Okay, and drum roll please. Okay. Webull now shows you which indicators you actually have on your chart at any given time. So let's say, for example, let's say I want ADX, let's say I want an EMA, and then I also want Bollinger Bands. So you can see, okay, in the main chart, it shows me I have the exponential moving average and the Bollinger Bands, and then it shows with the subchart I have the ADX indicator. So whether or not it's a main or a subchart indicator, you can edit them or delete them on the spot. You don't have to hunt around to figure out what's active and where. Simple, helpful, and exactly what you need. And I know before they had this where it shows the indicator values, but I don't know, this is just more helpful for me. That's about it for the familiar tools. So a better experience and a lot of shiny new features to explore, but I want to get into those custom indicators. Now, I know that's all been here before, but the way it's laid out now, it's sleek. More information is on display. Also, they've added a filtering option, which makes narrowing down what you actually need, whether it's main chart, subchart, trend, oscillator. It's gonna make picking your indicators a lot easier and only having what you need on the charts. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all of these different indicator choices, make sure you check out the video we have where we broke down the different categories of indicator types. For the most part, there's generally 4. Okay, so we're gonna break down each of those different categories and also highlight the top indicators in each. Okay, so your trading setup deserves to be tailored, and that video is going to help you figure all that out. Now, I want to talk about the newness. This made me do a double take. So with this new indicator update that Webull has, they now let you customize indicators like they had never done before. This isn't just a change the color and move on type of setup. No, we're talking about tailored insights that you can actually build to suit your strategy. Customization equals better decision making. Period. All right, so first things first, when you actually click on the new indicator button, it's going to take you to a shiny new interface called the WebullScript Editor. Honestly, when I first looked at it and saw all the codes, I said, okay, it feels like Webull took a page out of Thinkorswim's playbook, ThinkScript vibes, and they also sprinkled in a little bit of TradingView energy. Honestly, I kind of love it. I know that Webull has said that this is in its first stages, so this is very new. I just kind of want to break it down really quickly. It's not going to be a lot. It's going to be a really short video, I promise. Just breaking it down so you can make a couple of different indicators and get into it. So the editor is going to break break everything down into two main pieces. You have your functions and you have your variables. But before getting into the details of functions and variables to customize the indicators, I really want to break down what they actually mean. When you see functions, I want you to think about them like a toolkit. So they're going to be how you make things happen, whether you want to calculate averages, find trends, or even tweak how things look on the chart. They're going to do the heavy lifting. Each function is an ingredient where you're the chef creating the recipe that works for your goals. Now, the variables, these are going to be like your dynamic sidekicks. So they're going to adapt to what's happening in real time. So that's either going to be prices, different timestamps, volume, color, different things like that. So think about them like placeholders that update automatically as the market changes. So if you're working with live data or even older historical data, variables are going to have your back. And here's the cool thing. If you're not sure what a function or a variable does, you can just click on it and bam, you'll have a quick explanation that pops up at the bottom left. And so you'll kind of get a little bit more information on what it does, what it needs to work, the parameters, and also a little example that you can use to guide you. How it all comes together, this is going to be the fun part. So once you know the basics, then you can start mixing and matching functions and variables with things like colors, conditions, and different time filters. And don't worry, you don't have to be a coding wizard. We're going to break this down step by step. Okay, so I'm going to make a new indicator. This is going to be brand new. This is just going to be a few basic indicators or different ways that you can use this to customize any indicator or a trading strategy. I'm going to have this here. Boom. And we are going to just go ahead and add this to the chart. And so you can see from here, this was an EMA crossover indicator. And just before we kind of break it down, you can see that it's going to give you a small dot whenever one of the EMA lines crosses above or below the other one. So when it crosses below, you'll see red. And on the opposite, when it crosses above, you'll see green. So let's just actually break down this code. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is define the input parameters. So first you're going to set up the basics, and that's going to be the inputs that the indicator relies on. And so these are going to be the actual details that control how the entire thing works. Okay, so the first thing you see is lens fast and lens slow. Lens fast and lens slow, those are representing the lengths of the fast and slow EMA lines. So the fast EMA, that's going to react more quickly to different price changes, and the slow EMA, that's going to take its time to smooth out the price trends. And so you can see here, we're going to define what those are. And for the fast, we're going to have a 10 because that's going to be for quicker, shorter data. And then for the slow, it's going to be something a little bit longer. So for this example, I'm just using 10 and 30, but you can make it whatever you want it to be. And then the minimum is going to be 1. And so then you just have your name for it. So that's basically how you're going to actually define each one of these parameters. Now you can have more than 2 lines. You can have 20 lines in here if you want, but it just has to have its own name. And then you're going to have to define what each of those lines actually represents. Now, underneath that on line 4, you're going to see SRC, and that stands for source. So this is basically the source price. And usually it's going to be the closings. We have source, we're going to define it. We're going to say that's going to be the closing price, but you can change it to be open, close, high, low, whatever you want it to be. For this, we're going to say close, and then we name it the source. Boom. So here's an example of what that's going to look like. Okay, now we've already defined what our input parameters are going to be. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to actually calculate those EMAs. Not an actual calculation, but we just have to register with the software what type of calculation we're going to need. And so that's where these functions come in, because there's already a calculation for exponential moving averages here. We just have to connect those dots. The next thing you're going to do is calculate the actual EMA values. And this is where we're going to apply our inputs to get the fast and slow EMA numbers. So it sounds simple, but it's really critical. Here, we're going to use the IND EMA. You can see it here. So this is for all the indicators, like we said, and it already has one for EMA. We only have 2 lines. So you're going to use the IND.EMA to calculate the EMAs based on the selected source price and length. Okay, so for example, EMA underscore fast. That's going to equal IND EMA. Then we're going to have parentheses, source, len underscore fast. And so basically that just says we're going to calculate the EMA for that particular line, and we attached it to line 2, which was the fast EMA line. And then we're going to do the same thing for the EMA slow, or for the slower line. So we'll just do EMA underscore slow equals ind.ema source, and we're going to attach that source to the lens slow up top. Now, the next thing is to define the conditions or the signals. So now we're going to set up the real logic, and that's spotting the actual crossovers. So here you can create signals that tell you when trends are shifting up. Crossover up when the fast EMA moves above the slow EMA, or it's a bullish signal, and a crossover down when the fast EMA dips below the slow EMA, or a bearish signal. So the bullish crossover, that condition is going to be met when the EMA fast moves above the EMA slow and was previously below or equal to the slow EMA. And so the result is going to be stored in crossover up. Now for the bearish condition, that's going to be met when the EMA fast moves below the EMA slow and was previously above or equal to the slow EMA. And so that result is going to be stored in the crossover down. After we've already defined the input parameters for our actual EMA lines, we've defined what those EMA line calculations are going to be. We've already defined what the crossover is. Now we just have to go into actually plotting the lines on the chart and plotting that crossover signal with the plot. And there's so many different ways that you can plot, but plot is basically how you get it to show up on the screen. Okay, so you can either, have lines, you can have labels, you can have fill-ins if you want to fill in a certain section of the chart or in between two different lines. So there's so many different ways that you can use the plot function. But for here, we're going to use the plot EMA fast. And basically that just plots the fast EMA line on the chart in the specific color, which is purple for this. And then plot EMA slow, that's going to plot the slow EMA on the chart in the color with that code, which is orange. Now for these actual codes, or you can use the colors that they have available in the WeScript platform. So if you just want to use the colors that they have aqua, black, blue, fuchsia, gray, green. So they have colors of their own, but if you wanted to kind of use your own code, then you can do that. So we have the plot for the EMA. Now the next thing is going to be plotting the actual crossover. Okay, so for the bullish crossover plot, when a bullish crossover is going to be detected, or whether the fast EMA crosses above the slow, then we're going to see a green circle plotted at the crossover point. And so that's where the type of the plot is. So you can change how you want it to look. Type equals plot dot type circle. So that's just going to specify the marker style as circles. And you'll see once we have this set up in the WebullScript Editor, after we exit out of this, we'll be able to update and edit these new indicators the same way we would for the previous indicators that we were using. And I'll show you that in a second. We have our bearish crossover plot. When a bearish crossover is going to be detected, or that fast EMA crosses below the slow, then we're going to see the red circle plotted. Okay, so just a brief summary of all of the coding workflow. You have to input the parameters, define what these actual lines or the data is going to be representing. Then you're going to put in a calculation for that data. How's it calculated? You're going to have the logic for whatever the conditions are that you're wanting to plot, whether that's a crossover, a price moving above or below another. That's what those codes are going to represent. And then you have the actual visualization, which is the plot. That's the basic structure of what these indicators are going to entail. Now, where it's going to differ is going to be, of course, the different inputs, calculations, and the conditions. So this is what this is basically going to look like. We've already added it to the chart. And so then when we go here, we have our new indicator, and it's going to give us the opportunity to edit the settings. So click on settings. And so you see here, it gives us our title. It gives us our links. We can change these here if we need to. And then remember, we were talking about the source, the close, open, high, low. It can be any of those things. Now, as far as the style, here's where you can change the colors. So you can put that whatever you want. You don't even have to put the code in, which is great. And then as far as the plot, so we said we want it to be a dot, but it can be a lot of different things. I like to use either a dot or a cross. And then if you want it to be larger, you can do that. So it's easier to see. And you can see that it made it a little bit bigger there for the crossovers. But that's basically just that. That's how you can tailor that to actually plot something on the chart when there's an actual crossover. And then you can actually go back here. If I wanted to name it, I could just say EMA crossover strategy. Okay. And so now, I have the EMA crossover strategy. This is a main chart, meaning it's going to be above on our price action. It's a trend indicator for the moving averages. So then when I go up here to search, I type in EMA. Here it is, the EMA crossover strategy. Boom. So this is the one that we actually just created. So you can favorite that. Boom. Do whatever you want with that. Now, the next one I want to do is going to be a sub chart. So let me take this off, and I want to make another indicator. But this is going to be using the RSI indicator. So let me just put this here. Boom. And then let's add it to our chart. This is a sub chart. This is an oscillator. So let's add it. Boom. And I actually really like this one. So that's what it'll do. It's not perfect, but I do like that it'll highlight when we're in the overbought territory, and it'll also highlight when we're oversold. What's up here? Okay. So let's look at the code. Basically, the top part, we're defining the actual parameters of the RSI. So it's going to give you the RSI length. That defines the length of the RSI calculation window. So by default, usually it's going to be 14 for the RSI, but you can change it to whatever you want it to be. For example, a smaller value, let's say if we did 5, a smaller value is going to be more sensitive, and a larger value is going to have, more smooth. So you can kind of tailor that to whether or not you're day trading, swing trading, how much data are we actually using. You can kind of tailor that. Now with the RSI source, this defines the source data for the RSI calculation. So right here, for this, it's going to be the closing price, but you can use, of course, the open, high, low, or even custom data that you want to use. Next is just calculating the actual RSI. So that's going to be with our indicator function. And so we have the RSI right there. So ind.RSI, that calculates the RSI using the RSI source data and the RSI length, or the length of the calculation window that we had. RSI usually calculates the magnitude of the recent price changes to check whether or not a stock is overbought or oversold. So it does have its own formula that's in there. We're not worried about that. All we do is just link them together. Now, the next thing we're going to do is define the conditions of what overbought or oversold looks like. So this one is pretty simple. So overbought, that's going to be where the RSI value is above 70. So this means that the actual price may be overbought, meaning that it could be overpriced or a correction. And then you have the oversold. This is where the RSI value drops below 30, meaning it could be undervalued or due for a bounce. That's where those conditions are. The last thing is actually plotting this on the chart where we have here. We're going to have the plot RSI. That's going to plot the RSI indicator on the chart in a specific color, which is green. So this helps visually track how the RSI value moves over time. We're going to plot the overbought condition. So that's going to draw a horizontal line at 70 in a specific color. Here we have it for red. So when the RSI is greater than 70, it's going to signal overbought conditions. And then we have the plot oversold 30 line. And so this is going to draw a horizontal line at 30 in a specific color. For here we have green when the RSI is less than 30, signaling the oversold condition. So that's that for that. Just kind of a custom RSI indicator, because that's not what their RSI indicator looks like. Let's see. So here it doesn't really give you too many highlights. It's kind of simple. I don't know. Tell me in the comments below, which indicator would you rather use? The built-in or the custom? Let me know in the comments below. All right, you guys, but that's going to be that for this video. Now, I know there's a lot more information to come out about Webull's script editor, but this is just an example, a starter on how to build and edit pre-existing and new indicators for Webull. Is it as fine-tuned as TradingView? Obviously not. No. Is it as on point as Thinkorswim's editor? Has some work to do, but it's a start. It's something. So I appreciate Webull for coming out and constantly updating their software to become really valuable in the marketplace. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you click that thumbs up button for me. It really helps the channel. Also subscribe and click that notification bell so that you get notified anytime I upload a new video for you guys. All right, now I'll catch you on the next one.